Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's a TNG review show. With me, Montalban, and my co-hosts, G-Star and Mazimu Bob. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. How are you all this evening?
Good.
Are you well?
Very well.
Jolly good. Jolly good. And good evening to chat. Good evening to Mickey. Good evening to you, sir. And good evening to Stu Plum. And my wrench Smiler Rainbow. Good evening to you too. So how?
Just message Kaz in case she's forgotten.
It's been known. It's been known.
Yeah.
I can't remember if she said.
Thank you, Smiler. At least somebody noticed I was on mute.
Oh, sorry, G.
Hello, everybody. Sorry if you couldn't hear me earlier when I was saying, hello, how are we? Yeah. And I was saying that I had had a good day, and yeah, it was all good. And I'm so happy to be back in the cabin.
Oh, that's good. It's good to see you in your cabin. It looks like you have some sort of alien portal on your wall there that's going to take you back to 60s America.
Yeah, it's my little take on the, what's the thing in Star Trek that they go through? The
Guardian on the Edge of Forever.
Yeah, it's like my take on the Guardian on the Edge of Forever.
Yeah.
Takes me to the other side of the cabin, the other dimension of the cabin.
Yeah.
You can see some movement there. Ooh.
Is that the one where you can sing on that side?
Yeah, that's the one. I'm all ready to see all the microphones set up, ready to sing.
Yeah.
Karaoke later on.
Oh, the stream we have in store.
Oh yeah.
No, that's a completely different stream. One day.
I have a karaoke stream.
I'll tell you what, when this channel hits 100, we'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to choose songs that are episode titles.
Right.
There's got to be like this one's The Child of Mine by
Sweet Child of Mine. Yeah.
Sweet Child
Guns
of Mine.
and Roses. Yeah. Yeah, Karen's there. There you are, Karen.
Yes, she did say she forgot what day it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, bank holiday does that to you, Karen.
So here we are. New week. Did everybody have a nice Easter weekend?
Yeah, very sunny.
Had a really nice barbecue.
Oh,
yeah,
very good.
I had 3.
You had 3 barbecues.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
The
last one had like this whole leg of lamb on a spit. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, see, now that's taking it to a whole new level, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gideon
likes to do that.
I'm not gone that far. No.
I only had 1, and that was all I needed.
Well, you went to the good one, you went to the important barbecue.
After that, no barbecue would compare. No, I'm joking.
I must admit, by the 3rd day, I was like, oh, more barbecue food, more booze.
Oh, no.
They say you can never have too much of a good thing, but it was beginning to feel that way on Sunday.
Yeah, by Tuesday, I was gagging for a roast.
Yeah, no weekend without one.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody in chat had a nice Easter weekend as well. But here we are, it's Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and we're now reviewing Star Trek The Next Generation. Season 2.
As we do.
Season 2, baby!
2!
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, we done it. We got through Season 1, and we survived. We came out the other side, and we're still with it. We're still carrying on. We haven't lost faith.
Oh, it only goes better from here on in.
Oh, it does. It does. We got that season out of the way.
Like Yaz said, the only way is up.
Baby.
She certainly did.
Let's do the karaoke. The only way is up.
Do you know when you
Baby.
do you know when you regret saying something? Like, why did I mention that? Why? Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they always used to say when they got transported back to the Enterprise. The only way is up. Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on which way you think space is.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know?
I'd bring the science in, like, just bore the joke.
Well, it's just if you're in the southern hemisphere, maybe. You know,
the only way is down then, I guess. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So yes, the first episode of season 2 is The Child, and it's certainly got a lot to talk about with this episode, because we've got all the season 2 changes, so we'll probably be breaking it down a little bit more each scene, going, oh look, they painted that wall a different colour, or something like that, you know, whatever it might be.
Yeah, Monty Brown will be.
You know it. You know I will. I did notice a few things, and it'll be interesting to see from your investigations, Maz, how much I spot and how much you tell me is there, because I'm sure you've got a number of things I don't already have not noticed.
A couple bits and bobs.
Now, I don't know, but we were talking a bit before this episode, and we mentioned that this is a shortened season to all the other TNG seasons because of the ongoing writer's strike that was taking place that affected the latter half of the first season, and does heavily affect this season as well. So it's a shortened episode. A shortened season. And I think, and I don't know, but I think this is one of those episodes that was a script for something else, for a 60s Star Trek episode, or for a Phase 2 episode, or for maybe even another science fiction show or something.
Yeah, it was for a Phase 2, like spin-off of the original Star Trek that was originally due to be released in 1978. But it never happened, and some of the scripts were used for like the films, and then other scripts from that Phase 2, like Devil's Due, and this one was used for TNG. Yeah,
so it's still got a little bit of like that, like 60s Star Trek, still a bit of old Star Trek vibe about it, I feel, you know.
Not only that, the writers of the Phase 2 script, they pretty much disowned this episode, because what happened was Maurice Hurley, who did the screenplay for it, he didn't actually read the script, the original script. He just went by like a recap version that Gene Roddenberry told him. And the people who wrote the script were really annoyed about that. And he was like, well, Gene never told me there was actually a script. I only had to go by what he said, and we had 2 days to pull the teleplay together.
Right.
So it was based loosely on an idea, but a lot of their hard work in the original script got thrown out the window.
Yeah, right.
Probably because of Gene, who you know is still interfering even at this stage.
He was still interfering. He was still a presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I was reading earlier today was about how from this episode inwards, they had a slightly higher budget or something on the cameras and the use of photography, and so in this episode you sort of see them introduce quite a bit of different sort of kind of camera angles and ways of shooting things, because they had all new equipment to do so.
Yeah, they definitely
There's a whole bunch of new sets.
I got quite excited by some of the camera angles and things in this episode.
Gratuitous shots of new shuttle bays and all sorts.
Yeah, right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go. In fact, that's one of the first things I mention, as you'll see.
And so, don't forget
maybe
the
we should get into it.
Let's get into it.
And sorry, I didn't have the pictures ready, but don't forget the pictures.
We had some lovely weekends according to chat. Karen, she had a lovely time, but had no eggs. Sad face.
Aww.
Poor old Karen.
I haven't touched my egg. Maybe I should send it to you.
So F's in the chat for Karen. No eggs. Right. Yep. So let's roll our sleeves up and get into The Child. And the very first thing I say is, Oh yes. Oh no.
Rephrase.
Back out.
Let's
Oh.
start with the child.
Start with the child. Yes. First thing I say in the teaser is, first off, we've got a great opening shot of the Enterprise next to an Excelsior class ship, which is quite epic, and I think the music as well that they use for that opening shot's quite epic as well. So I quite like that as a sort of intro into season 2. And we see Worf at the Arch station at Tactical, wearing his brand new yellow operations uniform, which is
his new
his new chain metal sash.
Do you know what that sash is called? I never knew this.
No, I don't.
Frederick.
It's close.
A baldric?
Yes.
A baldric, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yes, a
We're like,
baldric.
oh, he's got his new silver baldric. I'm like, I thought baldric was a guy from Blackadder.
Yeah, no, you said it. I was like, oh, it's baldric. Yes, of course it's a baldric. Yeah, so he's looking pretty cool. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Geek.
It's just what they-
Such a nerd.
Oh no.
Of course, it's a poultry.
Yeah, it just is. And then we see Wes at home with his new grey uniform, which I think he now has for like the next 3 seasons or something, which is a lot better than any of the other uniforms he's had. And we see it pans around the bridge, and we see all the little bridge changes. So I think the arch is a slightly lighter coloured wood. The panels down the side are the sort of cushion panels with the little lights on them, rather than being the big brown wooden panels. We see the captain's chair with the raised arms with the little lights on them. We see the helm and operations chairs that are now not the big slouched back chairs, but they're more upright and they swivel. The carpet colours changed. They got new whiter bluey lights that go along the top of the sides of the trim of the walls, which are brighter than they were before. So yeah, loads of tiny little changes. I think I've just about covered all the changes on the bridge there.
I had some of the bridge elements are redesigned. That's what I have in my notes. I knew you'd fill the gaps.
Yes. It's so that's the things they changed on the bridge that I noticed anyway.
They'd moved the captain's chair forward by 3 millimeters. That's what I heard.
Well, with the chairs were anchored to the back wall of the arch, but now the chairs are stood on stands from the floor, and they've got bigger, thicker bases under the actual cushion part of the chairs, and the additional seating on the edge has disappeared. And from now on, this season, I think it's just like a smooth, like plastic arch that goes over the end of that area.
Is it a buttery biscuit base?
It's a buttery biscuit base. Anyway.
Base.
Yeah, you regret mentioning the changes to any chairs now, don't you? Because I just geeked out on how the chairs have changed.
Yeah, mine was a joke.
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't go into all the changes to the chairs, but there you go. That was some more of the changes.
Although I did hear some rumour that it was because Patrick Stewart was already shrinking and he wanted to look bigger, so he wanted to be more towards the camera.
Yeah. Yes, Mickey's got some catching up to do. Look, right? You got to get up to the child, Mickey. There's your homework for this week, right? Catch up.
Maybe not all in 1 week. Although if you still furloughed that, yeah, you could do it in a week.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. He's like, I've not watched all the episodes before. And we're like, well, this is a perfect time.
Here's your time.
You could do it in about 2 days.
Yeah.
That'd be going, Sam. Try.
Well, you can watch it as well on Netflix. You can watch it on like Speed Watch.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, you don't have to watch it on like
But to be
standard
fair,
time.
it is season 1. So yeah, maybe.
Season 1 you could watch on Speed, especially some of the episodes you could, you know.
Just look at our guide. Just go back and
go
look
back.
at our guide and the ones that we scored low, just skip them.
Yeah. I might put a picture of the score sheet actually on our website.
Yeah. And then you'll know which ones to not worry about.
Smiler Rainbow, could you make a note? Make a note for me to add the scoring sheet to the website. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, the intro.
Oh, and also he said the intro gave him goosebumps.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. It was one of those rare times that I actually watched through the intro this time. I don't always do that, but this episode I did. I wondered if they just tweaked the music a little bit. I just feel that they just tweaked it a little bit. I don't know if that's the case, but
I think they did. I can't remember. I was reading. As I said, I was reading some bits earlier, and I'm pretty sure they said something about the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's something to do with it being more orchestrated or something, or I don't know.
I stupidly thought he meant the intro to our show, but that makes more sense.
I would be worrying if he got goosebumps to that. I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah, I am thinking about changing the intro, actually doing an intro for this show, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, let me know if you need some music.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Enterprise is meeting the USS. Oh, no, I've scribbled. I can't read my writing. Resolute. Yeah,
Sounds
let's
about
do that.
right.
To bring aboard the new Doctor, Dr. Pulaski. So they say that Dr. Beverly Crusher's gone off to become head of Starfleet Medical. So we're getting a new doctor, Dr. Pulaski. And so she's now on board and the Enterprise is getting underway. In the ready room, newly promoted Chief Engineer LaForge, who's also now in an operations yellow uniform, is showing Captain Picard a new container he's devised when Riker enters and mounts the chair, Riker style. I do love the Rikers getting in and out of chairs. It keeps me occupied.
I didn't even notice it this time.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, he swings his leg over the chair and mounts it.
I think I was probably too busy writing about Geordie's promotion and stuff.
Yeah. He thinks Geordie's new title has a nice ring to it, Chief Engineer.
And he's gone from junior lieutenant to full lieutenant, hasn't he?
He has, yes. Geordie tells him that as well as the little container, he's devised a large container to keep all the containers safe in. And he uses a hologram on Picard's table to show them what the large container will look like. And I think that's the first time we've seen a hologram come out of Picard's table. I also noted that there was no other changes to Picard's ready room, apart from, I'm not sure it was the Stargazer model in the background in season 1. I think it might have been other ships there, but I wasn't sure about that one, so I didn't know whether to mention it.
And this episode, I think, is so I had in my notes, the last time that they use any kind of holographic display units. They just opt for, flat wall screens and stuff like that from now on. They use it several times in the first season, and then this episode, then never again. No,
I was about to say, it's. I know they have done it a couple of times, especially in the observation lounge. They've done it a couple of times, but yeah. Geordie tells him that he's got to replicate 512 more of these containers, and to do so, he's going to have to take power from the warp drive for a couple of hours. And then they go, and Riker does a reverse dismount off the chair, which I thought was very impressive. I don't think I've seen Riker do a
pushes off.
Reverse Riker maneuver.
A reverse Riker maneuver, yeah. Off of the chair and returns to the bridge.
Did you mention the other thing about Riker?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh. He's got a beard.
He's now one of the weirdy beardies.
He's one of the weirdy beardies. It's the only
Did you know
way
that?
to go.
He'd grown a beard over the break, and he turned up, and he was fully intending on shaving it off to retake his role as Riker. And the producers were like, "No, actually, we quite like it. Why don't you keep it?" So yeah, it was a last-minute decision.
I believe, and I don't know if this is correct, but I think he went to a convention or some sort of thing in front of an audience with Gene Roddenberry. And Gene Roddenberry asked the audience whether they liked him with a beard or without a beard. And universally, the audience came back saying they loved the beard. So Gene told him to keep it. I don't know whether that's like fake lore, but
I don't know.
That was the old story.
I just read the producers, so it could have been anyone.
He certainly joined the club of the distinguished and wise.
Yeah. You're more brainy with a beard. Apparently.
If you say so.
That's what I believe. It's my belief. He goes onto the bridge and orders full impulse to Octlet 9. Octlet 9? The destination. As they continue, an energy ball enters the ship and roams around corridors and through people's quarters and eventually settles on Deanna Troy's room, Councillor Troy. Makes its way up through her blankets and...
Glittery blankets. Why has everybody got to sleep in glitter in Star Trek?
It's a Star Trek thing.
I don't...
Bit odd.
It just always makes me feel like, can I get comfortable in glitter?
No.
Oof.
Except Worf's bed. He sleeps in fur.
He does.
It looks really comfy.
Yeah. And it enters her, and it makes her wake up, and she's like, "What was that?" Act 1. Picard explains.
Oh, sorry. You know
go
the
on.
light when it was going down the corridor,
Mm.
and it bumps into the two male crewmen. It's like, don't need that.
Yeah,
They weren't wearing any pips.
Well, they're not.
None at all.
Maybe they're
And
janitors.
no matter who they were, they should have had some kind of rank if they were wearing uniform.
Not necessarily. There are civilians on board, I suppose. I mean,
But I thought they still had like a, what do you call it? Like, because O'Brien's one of them. He's
a commissioned officer.
yeah,
He's a
that's it.
commissioned officer, though. That's
okay.
higher again.
From the comments I read, it said that they should all still have some kind of rank, even if it's like I don't know, but
Yeah, it did come up as one of the goose.
Yeah, if they're wearing a Starfleet uniform, they're in Starfleet, so they must be something.
yeah.
Because they'd be wearing civvies if they were just
They just
civilians.
ran out
on
of
board.
props or forgot.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Oh yeah, right. Thanks, Trailblazer. Yeah, it's a good point. I can't argue with you on that point.
Oh,
Um,
that's really sweet.
yeah, he's right. Picard explains in his log that there has been a plasma plague outbreak in the Retchelix system. Retchelix system.
You would think I'd have
Right,
questions
Alex?
on all of these things and I'd be able to help you
Yeah, like
out.
the names of the ships and
But I haven't.
It's like
I'll get
season
about
2.
halfway through the episode before my first question kicks in.
It's like season 2. Let's create some really weird names to mess people up, right? Retrilix system.
all I got was Space Station Tango Sierra. That's
All right,
as far as I got.
They're on a mission to collect samples of the plague and deliver them to the research centre to hopefully find a cure. Geordie checks in the containers, and I noticed as he was checking the containers, he talked to a guy with a really greasy face. I don't know if you noticed that guy.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be something of that because he's like, I'm almost there. And he's got sweat all over him.
He's got sweat up. They've just sprayed him down. Like, it looks like he's just run a marathon or something. And I thought, they're going to make some point of this. He's going to say, take a break. You look... But no, it's just never really mentioned. But, yeah, a really greasy guy.
Very strange.
Yeah. And he tells him they're ready to insert the modules. So on the bridge... Picard orders Data to go through the list of specimens to check what they're actually taking on board. And he says take it to the new doctor. He couldn't remember her name. which is kind of understandable because she's only just come aboard. And they're like, it's Dr. Pulaski. Oh, Pulaski, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Picard sits in his chair, and this is, I think, the first instance we see of the Picard maneuver in action, where he sits in the command chair and grabs his uniform and pulls it down. Now, I don't think we've seen that yet in Star Trek Next Generation, which is, I'm surprised he had to do it because he's still wearing the jumpsuit. He's not wearing the two-piece yet. But he still manages to grab it and pull it down anyway. There you go. And he questions where Dr. Pulaski is. He's like, where is our doctor anyway? And he contacts sick bay, and sick bay like, she's in 10 forward. And he's not impressed by that. So he goes off to find her. And Worf's like, oh, dang, she's in trouble.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Wes follows Picard into the turbo lift, and there's like a super awkward scene with Wes and Picard.
I've got to say, this scene's weird because as Picard's getting into the turbo lift, Wesley was coming out.
And then he got back in. He follows
and then
him.
He got back in.
He did
He's got something on his mind.
Yeah, he wants to talk to Picard about leaving the ship because he doesn't know what to do. You know, he's supposed to join his mum, but he wants to stay. So he's like, I gotta leave. And like Picard's like, yeah, you gotta leave. And he's like, but it's the Enterprise. It's a special ship, and
I couldn't help but when watching the scene, I thought, well, Patrick Stewart, his usual good self. He seemed like he was genuinely peed off, shall we say? He's still writhing for the whole loss of Dr. Crusher, but like Will Wheaton seems like he's on Valium. It's weird. It's like he's just, yeah.
He's slightly older than he was when we last saw him, so he's not quite as floppy pawed.
He seems a lot less arrogant in this episode, and a lot less annoying, actually.
Yeah, you kind of feel for him, really. He's, he should got to join his mum, but he doesn't want to leave what he's become known as his home, and he's very conflicted. And Picard's just super awkward with him, which is not helpful, really. And there's a really long pause in the turbo lift where you could like watch it and just like, you could create one of those like Mickey take clips of just like time seeming to endlessly go on forever. So like,
you've just made me think that we've got to see if there's some TNG bad lip reading.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be good. Or we could make some of our own.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he's walking down the corridor and he's like, but this is the Enterprise. It's not just any old ship. And there's a pause and Picard's like, how true? And then just walks off and leaves him there. And he's like left staring off down the corridor like, that hasn't helped me one bit. And there's a goof there.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a recorded goof, but I noticed it. As he goes to walk off down the corridor, supposedly away, you're left lingering on a shot of Wes looking off into the distance. But you can tell Picard's just stepped out of shot, but he hasn't fully stepped out of shot, and his arm's still in the shot.
Yep.
That was one before you.
Nicely done.
Yeah, I spotted that one. Yeah.
And also Wesley has an all silver comm badge, which is a bit odd.
Yeah, because he's an acting ensign.
But I've never seen a fully silver comm badge ever.
No, it's special. It's because he's special. It's a special comm badge for a special boy. Yeah.
It's just that gold would just look odd with his entirely silver suit.
I think it would. It looks quite cool, I think. Yeah. And I think, they looked at the more simplistic shoulders and the high collar of his uniform and thought, yeah, that would look good. Why don't we put that on the normal uniform?
Yeah.
Eventually.
But of course, in the first series, it never really occurred to me he didn't have a comm badge.
No.
This is his first episode with one.
Yeah. Yeah, Mickey's looking forward to getting back to watching season 1. Yeah, you're going to have a trial to get through it, but good luck to you, sir. He's
Had
off.
to go.
He's had to go and check on his mum. So yes, have a good evening. We'll check in with you again next week if you're watching this back on replay. We'll check back in with you and see how you're doing. Yes. So that was my goof for that bit. Have we not got any questions yet, G?
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. Picard goes.
I did say I have 4. I have 4 for the episode.
Okay.
But...
Okay. Yeah, Picard goes 10 forward looking for Dr. Pulaski.
10 forward.
And we see
Whoopee!
10 forward for the first time. So there's a big new set for Star Trek The Next Generation. And how
those
fantastic
doors from
it
Conspiracy.
looked. You know, I just thought it looked great going into 10 forward and the subdued lighting and all the uplights from the tables. And Guinan was there and he asked Guinan where Dr. Pulaski is. Whoopee.
Whoopee.
Whoopee. And you can tell he's looking forward to this because he gets to be all Picardy and captainy, and he's about to tear his new doctor a new one, and she tells him to sit down, and he's like, and Troy sat at the table with them, and she's looking concerned. So, wonder what is going on. The senior staff are gathered in the observation lounge. And Picard tells them that Troy is going to have a baby. And I like the way when they come in, they all sit around the table and Troy sits at the far end of the table. And
it's very confrontational, right, from the get-go.
I really liked how they set that out because, you know, she's feeling isolated, you know, invaded, confused, separate to everyone else. And they've shown us those feelings in the way they laid them out around the table, which I thought was a nice framing of the shot.
I don't know. I have criticism of that because, you know, obviously there's people at the table that are expressing concern that she's been invaded by an alien entity or something has happened to her and they're worried about it. It would not help that situation if she's already distancing herself and isolating herself from the crew and reacting as defensively as she does. So I just don't think that that's like particularly believable, considering the outcome is that they're just like, oh well, yeah, let her have the baby then.
You're getting really ahead of yourself.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, okay, that's one way of reading the situation. But basically, Picard outlines that Troy's going to have a baby, and Riker.
Stuplum says pictures.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, forgot about pictures. Look, here we
Well
go.
done, Stuplum.
Thank you, Stuplum. Yeah, forgot about pictures. There's the there you go. There's the hologram that's appearing on Picard's ready room table.
You get a good sense that some good special effects budgets is on its way.
Yeah, it looks pretty good for its time, I think.
Yeah, it's the best thing they've done so far.
There's Picard getting all up in Pulaski's face. And this is where we're at. Now they're meeting Pulaski for the first time. And Picard's like, we don't have time for introductions. Troy's pregnant. And
Will's face is a picture.
Will is like, what the what? And Dr. Pulaski says that she's not seen anything like this before. It's been 11 hours since the conception, and the fetus is the same as a 6-week-old. And at this rate, she'll have a baby in around 36 hours instead of 10 months.
Gosh, you would have thought there would have been a question there.
Riker's like, who's the father? That's where he goes to first.
Who's been having my Diana?
Yeah, and Troy says, well, I was sleeping last night and I just felt a presence, an essence, and it took me over. Picard makes it sound ominous by saying, an life form, an unknown organism, of a life form of unknown origin and intent is breeding inside Councillor Troy. And I thought, well, yeah, that's true, but that paints it in a pretty dire picture.
Yeah.
Dr. Pulaski says that the fetus is half human, half Beta Z, so it's just like Troy herself. In fact, they don't find any other DNA. And then they go into a discussion. Worf is like, for the safety of the crew, we should terminate the baby immediately. And they go on to discussing amongst themselves the pros and cons of aborting the baby, completely really ignoring Troy. And
not one of them asking what she wants or what she thinks or how she's feeling.
No, they're being pretty assholish about it, to be honest. And so she's in turmoil and sort of going inside herself whilst they're having these frank discussions. And then she's kind of had enough, and she just goes. She tells it as it is. I'm having the baby, and that's that. And so Picard's like, "Oh, end of discussion then." That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking off air about this episode and how how it was critically acclaimed and how it wasn't seen as one of the better episodes. And I think that from what I was reading, a lot of it stems from this scene and their reaction to the situation, and a lot of people just finding that it's not very plausible, that it's very uncharacteristic up and down. And it does kind of play out, and like the way you've just read out that scene, he was using terminology that made it sound very sort of alien. It's breeding inside of her, but yet once she states, I want to have the baby, it's like as you said, oh, end the conversation. She's having the baby.
Well, I guess that's it though. They can't. If she wants to have the baby, there's nothing they can do. They can't just terminate the life. It's not their, It's definitely not the Starfleet way, is it? So that ends that discussion.
Mm.
Maybe when they were discussing it originally, they were assuming that she would be like, my body's been invaded, get this thing out, sort of thing, rather than her maternal instincts kicking in.
Yeah.
But once they did, they were like, oh, right, okay, we're going that way.
We're going down that route. Right, okay. Yeah, so they arrive at All Deck 9. Troy, she's grown. She's now a big girl.
You know what was in that fake baby bump?
I'm going to go with either... Right. I'm going to go with sand, beads.
Mainly bird
seed. Seed. Okay. Yeah, sand would have been way too heavy. Dragging along the floor.
I thought even bird seed would be pretty heavy, to be fair.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like it's some sort of like prop that's been used in the past or something, like a cushion from a chair.
Yeah, it was all of Worf's head ridges from season 1.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he has a new headset for this season. He's changed.
Yeah.
His looks changed quite a bit, and apparently it's because someone on set stole his season 1 headpiece.
Oh, really?
And they had
Didn't know that.
They had to make him a whole new one because he used the same one throughout the whole of season 1. But it went missing. So either someone mislaid it or it got stolen, all of them, and so they had to make a new mold. And so he's got a different head this season. Troy's grown, but she's feeling great. I don't know what's the next picture. No. Oh well, that's the doctor describing the fetus, and there she is.
Big girl.
Yeah.
That's jumping ahead a bit, isn't it?
That's fine.
A little bit.
I noticed in this scene on the bridge where she comes down and she's pregnant now, and she says she's feeling great. Picard's chair's broken. I don't know if you have that as one of your goofs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't turn the lights on, so they've got now this. It's got an upturned panel on each arm of the captain's chair, and it's got little white lights on the front of it. And on this scene, it was just black squares. They'd forgot to turn the chair on. I guess it's new, and they just forgot to plug it in. Yeah, so I noticed that one. The questions are coming. Don't you worry. Chair's broken. They hail All Deck 9 and they talk to Hester Delt, who tells them the samples are ready for their collection, but he wants to inspect the storage containers beforehand because he's concerned that, they're going to end up letting loose a terrible virus.
Question time.
Well, lo and behold, look, you talk about it and so it arrives.
Yeah, you talk about it and make it happen. So we're obviously only doing one episode in this review tonight, but I've got 4 questions coming up. So there's going to be 2 lieutenant commander questions, 1 commander question, and 1 captain question. So a possible 200 TNG points can be won and can be yours. So the first lieutenant commander question worth 25 TNG points. How long does it take Hester Dell to complete inspection of the containment unit? Is it A, 12 hours, B, 14 hours, or C, 16 hours? How long does it take Hester Dell to complete the inspection of the containment unit? A, 12 hours, B, 14 hours, or C, 16 hours? Get your answers in the chat, guys.
Cool.
Ooh, how many points are on the line for that one?
25.
25 points. 25 TNG points. Yes. He wants to inspect cards. I noticed in this scene as well, and it just dawned on me, that Picard's hair looks a bit scruffy and looks a bit longer than normal.
Yeah. There's a few bits poking out.
Yeah, there's a few bits poking out, and it just looks scraggly. And then when he walked back to his chair, I thought, yeah, his hair looks quite a bit longer than it normally does. So, yeah, it makes him look older.
I think it does for most of this season, actually.
Well, he just wears it slightly longer this season. Yeah.
I think Karen likes when it disappears a bit more.
Yeah.
I was disappointed, actually, because when I started watching this episode, I forgot to say this at the beginning. I always thought that in season 2 they updated the uniforms, but obviously that's not yet. And so I was quite disappointed about it.
Again, I was absolutely positive that those uniforms were just a season 1 artifact. I'm again, this is a Mandela effect moment. So I'm pretty damn sure that those are season 1 uniforms. Why are we now in season 2 and they're still wearing them? When was that a thing? But apparently not. Yeah. In fact, I know they're not, because they don't change until the beginning of season 3. And then, actually, during the first half of season 3, they go through several iterations.
Let's have your answers in chat, Stu Plum and Trailblazer, if you're still on.
Because they actually start off like they are, like what you guys are wearing, but they're more tight-fitted with a seam down the middle. And then they change the material and they make them looser. They change them quite a bit. But we'll see that when we get to it. Well, not a seam down the middle. It's 2 seams.
I can remember,
and they have 2 seams going down. You'll see. You'll see what I mean when we get there one day.
I have this memory, and I might be wrong, but I think there was an interview with Patrick Stewart at one point, and he was talking about it. And one of the reasons why they updated it is because actually the uniforms that they had to wear before were actually giving some of the cast like backache because they were constantly pulling down on them. So it was giving them back problems, or maybe it was just Patrick Stewart that it was giving back problems to. But I heard that. I think I can remember hearing that either from an interview with Patrick Stewart or somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Just waiting for Stu Plum's answer. If Stu Plum's still around, we'll still wait. Picard says yes. You can inspect the storage containers, but I want a list of everything that's being brought aboard my ship. And so Hester's like, "Yep, that's fine. Okie dokie." a certain number of hours later, Lester
That's why I got it in there.
still inspecting, and Troy's ready to pop. So she grabs Data on her way to sickbay, and we can see in the photo there, because Troy reveals to Data, it's time. So Data calls Worf.
Did you notice the goof there?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Well, Data was supposed to be on his way to get Dr. Pulaski.
Yes.
And he comes out of the turbo lift and turns right, runs into Deanna. She says, take me to sickbay. So he does a 180 and walks in the opposite direction.
Yeah. So Data was basically just goofing around.
Yeah, going the wrong way. As androids do. Not
Probably getting a bit flustered, you know. It's his first, tending a birth of a child.
But yeah, see, the first thing he does is call Worf and his security team.
under captain's orders.
Yeah, under captain's orders.
And that guy that comes in as an extra, he seems to be around a lot of TNG as like a security guard.
Oh, he's like a beefy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's quite often in the background, isn't he?
He was in season 1, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
She's just about to pop.
yeah,
They're on their way to sick bay.
Dr. Pulaski says that the father's usually present, and Data offers his services, but Dr. Pulaski, being the speciesist, that's the best term I can come up for it, that she is, speciesist, says that what she needs is a soft human touch rather than cold technology. And I thought, how speciesist? Like,
I think it's xenophobia, isn't it?
Is it
that right?
Yeah. Well,
It might not be.
That's probably a better correct term.
It's because I haven't got a beard, you know.
But I like speciesist. Because, like, she's a betazoid, so, you know, why would she want a human touch?
Well, no, it was why would she want a cold android touch?
Yeah.
They did this a little bit too well for me, because that's one of the reasons why I do not like Dr. Pulaski, because she's so disrespectful to Data.
Yeah. That rubbed everybody up the wrong way right from the get-go, because everybody's favourite character in this show is Data. So the first thing they do with the new character to ingratiate her with the fans is for her to be really, really rude to the fans' favourite character. It's like, well, you've lost now. You've lost.
Answer time.
Get out. Get off my ship. Anyway, answer time. Thank you, G.
Yeah, we got our answer in from Stu Plum. So Karen was quite hot, straight in there with a B, and Stu followed up with a C. And what are you guys thinking?
14.
Well, not you.
14.
I have no idea. I would have gone with 12 as a guess.
The correct answer was B, 14 hours. So Karen's got the 25 TNG points.
Congratulations, Karen.
But there's another Lieutenant Commander question coming up.
It's all to play for.
But then
Anyway.
Troy says, no, I think Data will do just fine.
Exactly. She's happy.
And he
with
kind of
Data.
looks a little bit pleased with himself.
He's all smug. Although now he does get carried away with the asking her questions. Which, is not really the done thing when someone's giving birth. And Troy's like, Data, it started. And
I love the way that Pulaski said, oh, there's nothing to be nervous about. And Data was like, no, it's okay. I'm quite calm or something. And it's like, I think she was talking to the mum.
Yeah.
But he took it as they were talking to him, which I thought that was quite funny.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm just watching. And then he does get flustered because she tells him it's time. And he's like, Doctor.
No, Doctor, no.
Yeah, it's quite funny. But Troy feels no pain. She's like happy as Larry giving birth. Security arrives, and they wait some distance.
And Will arrives.
And Will arrives in the office, and he's watching from the background. And the baby pops out, and all is well. And Doctor tells Worf that him and his security team can come in now, and Worf gives that face of, do I have to? It's like I imagined it like a lower decks version of this episode. Worf would have just fainted.
He still happens to look at the baby as if he wants to phaser it.
Yeah,
He looks so like annoyed. He's like, "Oh, it's just a baby.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill something."
Wanders out. And then
Are there any more pictures? I suppose not.
there might
Just
be.
asking.
There might
Just
be a gooey
asking.
one.
Checking.
Oh, there
Gooey
you go.
baby one.
Yeah.
There she is, cuddled.
That doesn't look like the type of chair you'd want to give birth in, to be honest. That.
Yeah, if you're not careful with your butterfingers.
Well, just the angle of it and that as well. Just, you know.
That baby would be hitting the floor.
Yeah, you want to be laying down. You wouldn't want to be sat down like that. It doesn't help, I don't think. Yeah. Anyway. So yes, and he stands his security team down, and they go away because he sees it's just a baby. Data thanks Troy for allowing him to participate, and Troy calls the baby Ian.
Well, technically, it's
Ian Andrew.
Ian Andrew. I know, but I prefer baby Ian. Just call it Ian. They all call it Ian. It's just funny.
There's a little bit of a continuity thing as well as Will comes towards her. You see sort of the back of Will coming towards her, and she sort of looks up to him, and then it cuts to the next scene, and she looks up to him again. So it's like a little bit of a continuity double take.
Yeah, and he tells her that the baby looks beautiful, just like his mummy. Dr. Pulaski reports to the bridge and tells them that Troy, now 24 hours later, shows no sign of having ever having a baby.
Have the baby.
Have the baby.
Have the baby.
So Picard and Dr. Pulaski go down to see the new mum, and they're surprised to find. Is that another question time already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you that everybody was gagging for them earlier. And
you ready, Karen? Are you ready, Stu Plum?
I can't remember the question now. Hold on. So Pulaski, she came to the bridge, as Mark was just saying, and then she says to Picard, you need to come in and see it. So before setting off to see Troy, he asked Data how long the transfer will take. What is Data's answer? Is it A, 2.19 minutes, B, 2.21 minutes, or C, 2.23 minutes? Is it A, 2.19 minutes, B, 2.21 minutes, or C, 2.23 minutes when asked how long the transfer will take?
Who does minutes in points? You would
Data.
say 2 minutes, 16 seconds or something, wouldn't you?
Data.
Idiot.
Oh, Karen was on the button, born ready.
C
Very
and A.
much like Ian. So we got a C from Karen, and then we got an A from Stu Plum.
Well, let's just give it a couple more. Let's give it another minute just in case.
Trailblazer wants to get in there. Or Smiler wants to have a go.
So they go to Troy's quarters and they find that Troy's now the mum of a 4-year-old. And he goes, "Hello. Please don't worry. Everything's going to be okay."
A young David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, a young David Hasselhoff. I don't know if we have a picture. There he is. Isn't it?
There he is.
There he is. I don't know if it's a young David Hasselhoff.
That's some head of hair, isn't it?
Or a young,
Much later on.
Or a young Q. I'm seeing.
It looks like John Delancey.
A bit of John Delancey in his eyes there.
Oh, talking about John Delancey, coming to Picard too.
Yay!
Didn't know there was going to be one. Okay.
Sorry, spoiler alert. There
There's
is
going to be a second
series.
season.
Gosh.
I was saying a couple of weeks ago what was coming ahead in the Star Trek universe.
Although technically it should now be called not Picard, but
The android
Let's not
formerly
get into
known
this
as
on air, shall
android
we?
formerly known as Picard. He's like, couldn't you have at least, like, you know, cured my arthritis or something? I've just been upgraded to like a super robot, and yet I've still got thyroid problems in my back. I still have to hobble. It's like, oh.
Stop being mean.
Sorry. Start Act 3. We're on Act 3.
Club rules.
So mean.
Act 3 starts with a nice camera shot of us panning over the arch of the bridge and coming round the arch and I just was really impressed by that camera shot. So, props on the director in this episode. He got some really lovely camera shots of the bridge. They still haven't got underway, as it's taken longer than anticipated to check all of the viruses. Dr. Pulaski says, data, look at this. And Data's like, I'm sorry, it's data, not data. And she's like, what's the difference? And Data's like, well, one's my name. And she teases him. And she's like, through all these circuits and positronic neural nets, could you have a setting for a bruised feeling?
I think he looks quite chuffed at that. He's like, oh, I might be being a bit human.
Yeah, that is quite cute, isn't it? He does look like, oh, I've got a new emotion. I can have bruised feelings.
There's, you know, I don't want to do any spoilers, but there's just some stuff coming up where it just feels like somebody bullying somebody. It's like that sort of the way in which it's depicted, that he just doesn't know that she's being mean, and she is, and yeah.
Yeah, she is being mean. She knows it's not Data, but she's just seeing how he'd react, poking him and seeing what happens. Anyway, she finds that the virus has been over-engineered by an over-eager geneticist, just to see how bad their creation could be. And I think that's a bit like Da Bomb, and they're making the Beyond Insanity hot sauce. You know, how bad can bad be? And they've created it, you know. And she informs Picard of just what they're bringing on board, and tells them that even if the tiniest little bit gets out, then all life on the Enterprise will be wiped out within a space of a couple hours. Do you want to have the question time answers?
Yeah, for sure. So, Karen got the first Lieutenant Commander question right, and started us off straight away with 25 TNG points. For the second question, what were your guesses, guys?
I will go with 2.23.
I'd go with 2.19.
Okay, so Stu Plum, you have caught up with Karen, and you were both neck and neck on 25 TNG points. It was 2.19 minutes.
Total guess.
Oh, well done. So it's 1 to me and 1 to you at the moment, Maz, in our little unofficial competition.
It's level pegging between Karen and Stu. Interesting stuff.
Smiler Rainbow noticed that I was like subtly plugging the Monty's Hot Wings show, and
the commander question is right around the corner.
Ooh, right around the corner, right. If I go to start talking, you're going to go, question time.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing.
Just to be annoying.
Okay, let's see if that works then. Okay. So, meanwhile, Ian is playing with puppies.
Question time. No, actually, I don't know if it is yet.
Oh.
What are you just about to go through?
Puppies.
Ian's in the nursery playing with puppies.
Oh, definitely not now.
I've got a little bit of trivia for you in this scene.
Just interrupted you for no reason.
Did.
That's gratuitous.
Well, I think you've actually bypassed the bit that I was going to ask about, but I don't know.
I might have done. I noticed the thing, but when he's playing with puppies in the have we got a picture? No. It's just a bit of trivia. It's not necessarily a goof or anything like that, but it's just something I noticed. But like a lot of nurseries, they've got the A's, B's, C's on the walls of the nursery to teach the kids the alphabet. And the font they use for the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the alphabet on the wall of the nursery is the 60s Star Trek font.
Oh, wow.
So, anyway, there you go. Bit useless knowledge that probably nobody else in the world noticed.
I'll just have to go back and watch the episode again just to look at that.
Just to look at that and go, oh, yes, there's the 60s Star Trek font on the walls
God
of the
for
nurseries.
Finger Swipe on Netflix.
Yeah. Anyway, the nursery lady says that she thinks he's actually grown since she dropped him off. And Ian says he liked playing with the puppies. The transport chief, O'Brien. We see Chief O'Brien for the first time since, I think it's Encounter at Farpoint.
No, I didn't notice that. I have to say,
He was a helmsman in Encounter at Farpoint, and I don't think he came up again in the whole of the first season until this point.
Yeah, I don't think he did. And he had a red uniform on initially, didn't he?
He did.
This is his first time in gold.
So yeah.
And he's obviously established now as a transporter chief.
He is.
You know, him, Guinan, and who else was it? Pulaski, obviously all new recurring characters this season.
Yeah. And how many of them? Like, there's 3 of them now that have gone from red to gold.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he's transporting the viruses into containment. Picard, Dr.
Why,
Pulaski.
though?
Why?
Well, because they do have, like, season 1 several times established in a couple of different episodes that they have transporters in every cargo bay.
Yeah,
so why are they having to use the transporter room for that?
I don't know. It's O'Brien.
Just saying.
It's O'Brien. He likes transporter
to bring
room
O'Brien
6.
into it. That's
Question
why.
time. So this is a commander question, but it's still keeping it at multiple choice, so it's worth 50 TNG points. And the question is, after helping Pulaski in sickbay, Picard tells Data that he is needed in the transporter room. But which transporter room? Was it A, transporter room 2, B, transporter room 3, or C, transporter room 5? Was it 2, was it 3, or was it 5?
I know.
Right.
Get your answers in chat.
So,
Not a rush.
there we
Not
go.
like the captain question, but you know, it helps.
They've both answered already. They're like fingers on buzzers. Golly.
Wow. I get it right in there. We'll come back to the answers in a sec.
Yeah.
Picard and Dr. Pulaski visits Troy, and Ian puts his finger in some hot soup, and Dr. Pulaski treats his boo-boo. And Ian wonders why his face is now wet, because he's cried for the first time. And Dr. Pulaski notes that he did that on purpose, to see what the sensation would feel like. Picard tries to find out from Ian why he's there, but Ian still doesn't want to tell him. And Troy's like, give him time. When he's gotten a bit older, in maybe a few hours, and his brain's more developed, maybe he'll be ready to tell them. The Enterprise now has all the viruses on board, so leaves for Rakelis. There's a nice shot of outside 10 forward. You pan down to 10 forward from outside the
See him
Enterprise.
standing in the window.
And see Wesley standing, gazing out of the window of 10 forward. Oh, right. Come on. There we go.
So this is where there was a bit of a goof
Was there?
in this scene, yeah. So at the start of the scene, the camera is outside the Enterprise looking through the windows of 10 forward. Do you remember that? Because it was quite interesting the way they did that.
You just literally talked.
Yeah, he just described that.
Yeah, sorry.
You weren't listening, were you?
And you didn't see the goof? You didn't see the goof?
No.
It's a continuity goof.
No.
Did this come up in your goof search? This is the one that I was talking about.
Don't think so.
Basically, if you watch the view and you look inside 10 forward, you see Guinan behind the bar, and you see Wesley walk towards the window, and then you see Guinan look at him, and then she starts walking around the bar as if she's walking towards him, and then the shot cuts to inside 10 forward, and she's back behind the bar talking to the person that she was talking to just moments before.
No.
Didn't notice that.
No, that one didn't come up.
No.
Well, there you go.
Well,
you spotted another
if
one.
you go back and watch it, that's what happens.
Nothing gets by us, Nothing gets by us.
No stone unturned.
We'll go to the answers, but just quickly, Smiler, doing a bit of research, has found that Cole Meany was also in Lonely Among Us.
I thought there might have been a second one, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Thank you.
Thank you, Smiler. Thank you, Smiler.
Okay.
He wasn't named in either one. I don't even know that he was in this one, but he was definitely like a nameless crew member until now, and this is like when he first becomes like an established recurring actual role.
He's in the credits. He's in the end credits for this one as Tree Chief O'Brien. Yeah. So the answers,
So I heard you guys shouting out, I know. So what's your answers?
My answer is B.
B3, yeah.
B3. So yeah, that's correct. Stu's jumped into the lead. So Stu's on 75 TNG points. And Karen, unfortunately, it wasn't C. But thank you for your answer. I thought it was an interesting question to ask, because I was kind of like reading the goofs where they were talking about what Maz was saying about, the cargo bays would have had transporter rooms, but it was interesting that it was cargo bay 5, but transporter room 3. So I thought that might mix people up.
Good,
they might think 5 instead of. Yeah.
Good point.
Good point. Yes.
So we have got the captain question still to come at the end. So there's every chance that Karen can take the lead from Stu.
It's all to play for in the ready money round. That was catchphrases. That was. The Enterprise has now got all the viruses on board. So at least for go for 10 outside 10 forward. Blah blah blah. Wes talks to Guinan about leaving the ship, and she keeps offering him things, and he starts to get annoyed that she's offering him things, and she says, "Well, that's just what people expect me to do." So it's kind of subtly telling him that she doesn't have to worry about what everybody else thinks. It's a case of time for him to think about what he wants.
I love Guinan.
Yeah, very subtle.
She's an amazing character. She just, even her presence just brings credibility to those series. I know it sounds crazy, but she does.
Yeah, she does. And
it's just so great that she was such a big fan as well. That's why she ended up on it. And yeah, it just goes on to be brilliant.
Yep.
And she's just so warm and makes 10 forward such a interesting, warm place.
It's a beautiful character. Like, sorry to sound like really over dramatic about it, but it's a beautiful character, and just the costume, the way they dress her, and her headpiece, everything they do, the choices that they make, just make her like one of you were just saying, like brings a huge amount of credibility.
And her acting, I mean, her facial expressions are just quality.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
Good old Woody.
Meanwhile, in the virus containment facility, a virus is starting to grow. LaForge doesn't know why.
Sorry.
But it's happening anyway. In 10 forward, Guinan says that she didn't know the captain before joining the ship, before coming on board the Enterprise, because Wes is saying there's loads of rumours about you and that you knew Picard beforehand. And she says, no, I didn't. but I was pretty sure she did know Picard from back along. So I don't know if that's just a continuity goof that they changed her backstory later on.
Yeah, it is. It's not. It comes up in the goofs, but it's not like she did or anybody said anything wrong at the time. It's just at the time that part of the character's history hadn't been written in. Yeah. Although I'd love to go back and, because I was reading this after I watched the episode, I'd love to go back and watch it to see whether she just says that she didn't know him on the Stargazer.
Yeah.
Because obviously she didn't. She knew him way before that.
Yeah.
But I think she says something like, "We'd never met before I came on the Enterprise."
On board the ship, yeah.
Yeah. So, slight continuity thing. Wes thanks her for, I think it's a souffle or something, and for her help. And then comes back and thanks for her help again. And it's like he doesn't want to leave. He's been summoned to the bridge and he's like, oh, thank you. Thank you.
But this is like where he's just so sweet. He's like, just so overwhelmingly sweet. It's like the nicest Wes has ever been.
Well, I think they probably got feedback from the first series that, he's super annoying. So they've like calmed him down. They've made him more endearing.
They've put him on Valium, as Gary said.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly grown up a lot between the two seasons as well.
Yeah. He makes Guinan look pretty short.
Yeah.
Riker, Dr. Pulaski converge on the cargo bay to see what's going on and see whether they can help. Like Riker could help in this situation. But Hester tells them that, the situation is dire. Riker's like, well, we'll just jettison it. And Hester says you can't do that because it will turn into spores and then it will infect other ships. Why can't you jettison it though? Space is big. Jettison it and then phaser it. If it was desperate times, just vaporize. But apparently you can't do that. So yes, he's like, well, what you're telling me is the situation is bad. And he's like, yes. Riker orders the contingency of getting everybody over to the saucer section and separating if things get bad. So notifies the bridge to do that. And Dr. Pulaski wants to have a look at the etiology of the virus to see if she can find some more information about it. So she goes to a computer with Hester to have a look at the history of the virus and discovers that the strain was mutated using
Eichner radiation.
That's it. Eichner radiation.
That's not actually what her screen said, yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah,
is that a goof, is it?
Well, it's a goof and a trivia thing, but the first screen she looks at has all TNG staff names on it, like Rick Bowman and a whole bunch of them are listed, and then she goes through 2 more pages of information, some of which has like typos and like repeated words. It's just not well written. But of the 2 screens she looks at, not a single one mentions Eichner radiation. So then what she then summarizes has nothing to do with what was written on the screen.
Yeah. They just really didn't figure in for like 47-inch televisions and high definition, did they? Just didn't. They just thought we can slap anything up on these screens. Nobody will ever see it. Wrong. Eichner radiation. And so they think maybe that's stimulating the growth. They never detected any Eichner radiation before, but Hester does a quick check on his little Geiger counter thing, and lo and behold, they're detecting Eichner radiation now.
They also asked them, like Geordie and Data, what could possibly cause Eichner radiation. And I can't remember which one. Is it Data or Geordie?
Data says it.
Says it might be cyanoacrylates are known to cause radiation.
Okay.
That's super glue,
Oh, is it?
which doesn't cause radiation.
No. Well, it sounded good.
Yeah,
I believed him.
it's like a composite made from a derivative of cyanide combined with a bunch of other things.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. All right. Meanwhile, in Troy's quarters, she's putting Ian to bed. And Ian says that he picking up that the crew are concerned, and Troy's like, yeah, I feel it too, because they're both Beta Z, part Beta Zs. And Ian says the reason everyone on the ship is worried is because of me, and he's got to leave now. And she's like, no.
Picture?
I don't have a picture of that.
No.
This is the end of the pictures.
Right.
We got one picture left, which is this picture. And with that, he passes away. Troy panics and signals sickbay for a medical emergency. And Data, Riker, and Dr. Pulaski arrive at her quarters. Data finds that Ian is the source of the Eichner radiation, as they thought. And Dr. Pulaski tries to save him, but he's died already. And then he turns into a ball of light and goes into Troy's hands, like we see here, before going off and leaving the ship. The Forge then comes in from the cargo bay and reports that the virus is now stabilizing because the source of the Eichner radiation has gone. And that's it. Yeah. Troy says that Ian, the entity, communicated to her when he was in her hands, and told her that he met them in space and he wanted to get to know them as a culture, and that, so decided to learn about them by going through the process of living one of their lives, and said that he will miss her and she will miss him, and that's it. Is there no captain question yet? Because I'm literally just a couple of lines away from the end of the episode.
He normally does that at the end.
Okay, all right, okay. They reach the science station.
You think he hasn't been paying attention on these episodes.
They reach the science station. They beam the viruses over, along with Hester. Wes visits Picard in his ready room and tells him that he's decided he wants to stay. And Picard tells him that that's complicated and dismisses him. And he sort of stands there for a bit. He's like, what do you mean? And Picard's like, you're dismissed, Ensign. And he leaves. Poor Wesley. He returns to the con on the bridge. But then Picard enters the bridge, orders Wesley to get underway, and then says, Wesley's requested to stay on the bridge, but, that's going to cause us all some difficulties with that. And he says, well, Data's going to have to take up the making sure he's educated, but we're going to need someone to tuck him in bed at night. And Worf, not picking up on this, is all a bit of a joke, earnestly says, I'll assume that responsibility.
Oh, Worf's such a sweetie.
I know. Riker agrees to look after him in general, so Picard allows him to stay. And Wes looks super happy.
It's like Deanna's giggling the whole time.
I know, Deanna's giggling, and Wesley's looking super nervous on the helm there, because he's like, oh my God, what if they don't want me? But no, they're just all pulling his leg, and he's super happy, and they get underway. And yeah, I can understand why Picard was reticent, because he didn't want to do it to Beverly, because Beverly lost her husband under his command, And now by whisking her son away as well, he knew that was going to put a strain on Beverly. So he had to give it some deep thought before accepting his
I thought he was just pranking him and winding him up. But I get why he said it's up to your mother ultimately. Like, this is her choice. But I mean, just skipping back ever so slightly, after like Deanna's, this picture here, they all kind of, the other three people in the room all kind of look at each other and then sort of shuffle out. And it's like, fair enough, maybe she wanted space right then, but maybe like she's just lost a child and everybody's walked out on her. I mean, and the fact that she's then on the bridge a little bit later giggling, it seems unlikely. But then this child was a bit easy come, easy go. It seems odd, but I don't know. All a bit weird.
Yeah.
So, Captain Question time. So this one is for 100 TNG points, and I'm going to take you all the way back to the beginning of the episode before the opening titles. And there's a reason why I've chosen this question, because I want to talk about it afterwards. But so this is fastest on the buzzer, so the first person to get the correct answer into chat, and it is a multiple choice answers as well. So at the beginning of the episode, Picard and Riker are in the Picard's ready room, and as Mark was saying, Riker was doing his Riker maneuver. At the end of the meeting, Riker goes to leave, and Picard states that he will relieve Riker from the bridge at what time?
Oh, I know this.
0300, B, 0400, or C, 0500? Will he relieve him from the bridge? Will Picard relieve Riker from the bridge at 0300, B, 0400, or C, 0500? Quickest answer. Oh, that's Karen in there with the C?
I didn't want to put it in because I know what it is. I, didn't want to give it away. I can't see chat, actually. This sometimes happens with me. I don't know why.
I got it. So we've got Karen's guessed at C, and Stupum has guessed at B. Monty, I was just about to ask you, Mark, what's your guess? A. Maria, what was your guess?
A.
Yeah, our hosts are right, unfortunately, guys. It was 0300. But the reason why I chose the question, because I had to go back several times and listen to it to check, because Patrick Stewart pronounces it 0300. He says, I'll relieve you from the bridge at 0300. And I just caught it, and I thought he said 030, and I was like, what time is that? That's a bit weird. So I went back and listened to it, and I thought, how odd. That caught me off, because instead of saying 0300, he said 0300.
It's just the way
I didn't even notice that he said that. I just, for me, I had this gut reaction, which was like, 3 o'clock in the morning? Will's got to work till 3 o'clock in the morning. I was just outraged by the time that they had said. So that kind of mental reaction I had made me remember it, even though I didn't write it down.
I thought they were like a day shift.
What that means is both Maz and Mark got 100 TNG points, but the competition's not between them as hosts of the show.
No.
As Karen or Stu didn't get any points for that last captain's question, it means that our end results, our winner for this evening was Stu Plum on 75 points, and well done, Karen, for your 25 TNG points.
Yay!
Well done, guys! Woo.
Congratulations to you.
So many other bits and bobs to just sort of swizz through, if that's all right.
Well, I think Stupum left because he's... All right, go on. Yep, go on. What other things have you got for us then?
One bit of trivia said this is the only second season episode to reference Crusher. I think, can that be true? We'll see for the rest of the series if that's actually true. I'm sure Wes must mention his mum once or twice, but we'll see. Of the set changes, 10 forward, cargo bay used for shuttle bay, obs. Sick bay, didn't mention that, did ya?
No, sick bay's had an overhaul, and
Yeah.
it's got a proper
There's
sick bay now.
lighting and various bits and bobs. I know you mentioned sick bay a
The
lot
whole
at the beginning
chairs
of
and
season
all
one.
that thing. It's changed quite a
Birthing
lot.
chairs.
Yeah, and the addition of birthing chairs. The hallway into the observation lounge loses its ship wall dressings or something. I didn't actually see that in the episode, but apparently that's another thing.
I didn't know it had it. I thought the hallway to the observation lounge gets the ships when they move them out of the observation lounge. But because it's certainly there later when they take them out. Because you know the back wall is like all those gold ships.
Yeah.
They move them out into the hallway. But yeah.
Well, I definitely didn't check that. But apparently, also originally, Data's name was going to be Data.
Oh, was it?
Or Data.
Well, it is the American way of saying it, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was just before the pilot, there were a few sort of changes to some of the characters. So Jean-Luc Picard was going to be Julian. Riker was going to be Riker with a Y. Yeah, Julian Picard. And Wesley Crusher was going to be Leslie Crusher. I think we actually mentioned that when we saw the pilot, that originally Crusher was going to have a daughter rather than a son. So yeah, and apparently it was originally going to be Data, but they decided to go for Data. I don't know if that's because like they'd cast Jean-Luc Picard by that point, and that's the way he said it, and it sounded so cool. I don't. That's what I like to think.
Data.
Data.
Way of just trying to trick Americans into actually saying it correctly.
Yeah, but it's also cool because it establishes him as different to what Americans would normally say, and being that most of the people around him are American sounding, it does really establish that as his name rather than just a word that they say.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite cool that they've. It didn't really occur to me until Pulaski saying that. That's what it's done, is it's made it a distinct name to the American people rather than a word.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, there was something I didn't pick up on this when I was watching the episode, but Geordie says something about the container is 97 degrees Kelvin,
Right.
which I mean that's basically
Very,
the
very
same
cold.
temperature as liquid nitrogen, but he's supposed to be a science officer, and with Kelvin there isn't degrees. I mean, I guess for the noddy audience you have to say that in order to indicate you're giving like a temperature gauge. But 0 degrees Celsius, for example, is was it 273 degrees Kelvin or something?
Something like that.
273 Kelvin. It's just 273 Kelvin. Yeah, it's not degrees. So he would have known that nomenclature, but whatevs.
But the units of Kelvin are the same units as Celsius.
Celsius, yeah, it's the same scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit's different, but Celsius is the same. Some people think that the film Star, I mean, it's hardly even worth mentioning, it's just an opinion, that Starman might have been considered possible influence for this episode, but I mean, we know that this came from a phase 2 script from back in the 70s, and Starman came after that time, didn't it? So
it did.
That cannot possibly be true. We covered that one. Some typos on screens, that's fine. I think that's most of them. Yeah. I think that's it, yeah.
I will say, as being a parent, when the child died, I was a little weepy. It did get to me a little emotional. It did get us a little emotional in it. It's the first.
The child didn't die. It just left.
Well, did to Deanna,
it did seem like it was all kind of swept under the carpet a little. I thought they should have had a ceremony or something. I mean,
it was all a bit awkward, wasn't it? But I did feel sorry for her, and it was quite sad. There we go. So
I agree.
Scores on the doors.
Oh, crap.
Yeah,
Do you know what?
put your scores in chat, guys.
Oh,
We could have a range here, I feel.
maybe.
We could have a range. Let's see what we get. Now, as you know, I'm doing it season by season. So fresh season. There we go.
Ready?
Don't influence my vote. Not bad.
Well, the way I think about it is, if I'd measured them all the same way, then I would have given everything in season 1 like a maximum of like a 2 or 3. So I'm just taking it season by season. But anyway.
Yeah, you said you
No,
take it on how much you enjoy an
Do
episode.
it the way
Yeah,
you want to
do.
do it. You usually change your scores anyway, so
I might do.
That's true.
Actually, I'm gonna. No, I'm not. Yes, no.
I'm hovering between two. It's difficult.
No, I don't know.
oh goodness gracious.
Okay, all
What do you
right.
think in chat? What scores? Scores on the doors.
We want your scores in chat, please. Help.
Right, after the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Why then do you like pause and not hold yours up after you count 3? You wait to see what everybody else has done.
Yeah, 5. We went for a 5.
That's pretty
5 was
consistent, to be
5.
fair.
Yeah. I think
Karen went
it's-
for 5.
You looked it
Stupid
up.
went for a 6.
6.
Do you know I was
6.
between a 5 and a 6?
I was
I
between
enjoyed
a
it more
5
than
and
I
a
thought.
6.
I was
I might
between a
change
4 and a
6.
5.
I think it deserves more.
It's all pretty consistent.
You're not
to be fair.
changing to a 6. You put it up now in the air. It's being recorded. It's on the stream. I've just seen it.
I mean,
Can't change it.
I can't really remember what episodes are to come, but I do know this is the second lowest ranking episode on IMDb. But so I've just hedged my bets and gone slightly lower. But I shouldn't really be influenced by outside sources. I quite liked it, to be fair. I enjoyed it. Yeah, stupid. I'm saying I enjoyed it. Literally, as I just said, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I think the characters are kind of developing now. Some of them settled down. There's better camera shots, as you say. There's better scenes. Is that emotional? I mean, you cried, Mark. How can you not make it a 6?
I wouldn't say I cried. I just
You
found
did,
it
did,
emotional.
do you want to rewind the stream and then play it back to you? You just said you cried.
I wouldn't say I cried. It's just, it was emotional.
I cried watching this episode, not for the same reasons as you did.
Right, in pain.
Yeah. No, for me, this is a science fiction program, so a lot of the science behind it, you've got to kind of let it go. But then when it comes to like human emotions and I just, script wise, I want genuine.
It didn't ring true.
Yeah, and just and that's what a lot of the critics said, and that's why it got quite heavily panned, is because ultimately, kind of what happened to Troy was, in a sense, sort of rape, and they don't even address that, like her being invaded and all of that stuff, and like Maz was saying, just the way in which she seemed to quickly get over the whole thing, and 5 minutes later she's laughing on the bridge, and yeah, there's just a lot of things about it that just didn't sit right from an emotional,
Yeah, I guess so.
genuine, realistic point of view.
I thought she had portrayed the emotion well, though, and I thought it was good, strong
In the moment,
character
for sure, yeah.
In the moment of the episode, how she dealt with this all happening and getting past it for the sake of the child and all that, I thought it was really strong for her character, and I thought how she portrayed it all was really strong. And I really believed her as a mum and caring for this child. So for me, I think time has been kinder on this episode than some other episodes. And I think it probably looks better now, and I think it's stronger now, possibly, than what it was when it first came out.
And there were elements of, like you say, with her acting, where she was like, Ian, would you like to say hello? And they're like, well, he talks now. And it's like, she's very calm and she's like touching her son very affectionately, but she has this look about her, which is like, don't mess with Mama Bear. You know, you can see this undercurrent of like, this is my son, you know, watch what you're doing and what you're saying, which I think is pretty cool.
I just there's a few episodes to come in future series where there's a very similar thing, like an entity gets on board the Enterprise and you know, kind of invades somebody in. And there's the one with one of my favorite episodes, the one with Troy's mother and the girl who's got the invisible friend who turns out not to, no, that's not with Troy's mother, but sorry, rewind. The one where there's a young girl who's got the invisible friend, imaginary friend who doesn't turn out to be imaginary, you know. Some episodes like that, and I just think the acting, the scripting and storyline fits, you know, goes better, and it's very similar to this kind of episode but just done better. So that's why I think I justify my score.
And I think, you know, we 4 or 5 we were around the same sort of ballpark. I think for me, I really enjoyed the episode, but I'm just edging my bets in a you know in a first episode of the season, just gone in with the medium kind of. We'll see what this is our benchmark for season 2. Let's see if the next one's better or worse than that. And
I'm a bit with you though, where you were saying about seasons, because if I was rating this one, if this one was part of season 1, I'd have probably given it a 7 or 8.
For sure.
Yeah,
it would have been one of the strongest episodes of season 1.
Coming in season 2 that my Richter scale needs to then fit.
Yeah, that's why I say it's like you got to rate it in season. But yeah, night Stu Plum. Is he off? Is he?
Night.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So there. I've created a new sheet. So here's our first entry of our.
Where's the graph?
And the competition.
Graph of a single bar.
Oh God.
No, you don't have to do that right now.
I'll do the graph in a minute. I've only just created this on the fly because I was just like, as I'm talking, thinking, oh God, I haven't created a sheet. So yeah, I've just created a sheet. There we go. First entry. I'll get all the rest of it on there in a bit.
Gets 1 competition point.
Oh yeah, Stu Plum.
And it is 1 a week now, which I guess makes it slightly easier, you know, in terms of who won a week or who won an episode when we're doing 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think if we have a draw, everybody gets a point, you know. But for the moment, the winner of the overall episode gets a point.
There you go.
I'm not going to call it a TNG point, it's a competition point.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd like to make a bid. I know it's a long time to be thinking about this, but I'd like to make a bid that although we're doing 1 episode per series, 1 episode per episode for series 2, I think when it comes to the last episode of the series, we need to do 2 episodes in 1 day and cross over from series 2 to 3 in 1 night.
Yeah, we could do, because to be honest, the last episode of this season
is a pants clip show.
I think we can't really talk about it anyway. Oh no, we got to review it.
We should do it, but we'll do it in 15 minutes, and then we'll get on to season 3.
I love that idea, because also then for every other crossover episode,
no beard,
2-parters.
Genius.
They're 2.
Self-proclaimed. That's what people without beards do.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I lost that argument. I concede. I back down.
I just love Trailblazer. Don't know where that confidence in me came from, but I love it.
Just remember, I can go and shave my beard off now.
Do that for next week.
No way.
Yeah, your other half probably never forgive you.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Not worth it. No. Anyway, this is our first trial of doing like a 1 episode podcast, and
it was almost as long as
it wasn't, but
it wasn't.
You know, it was still long.
It was still quite long, but then again, we had a lot to talk about. I think
it was because it was the start of season 2 as well. Like added content,
all the changes and things. One thing we didn't note that it was in that last picture is this was the inaugural introduction of Troy's maroon jumpsuit
Hmm.
because she was in like a grey.
Yes, I do have that in my notes. Sorry,
a
I
light
forgot
grey
to say
one
that.
last season. Now she's in a maroon
And she wears
one.
this all season.
Yeah.
And she has a new hairstyle, which she also wears all season.
Yeah, this is the Troy look for this season. Actually, look, I just got the picture up. I'll just quickly flick to it so you can see what we're talking about if you're not quite so sure.
I don't know how I didn't say that because I do have it in my notes.
There you go. There's that's the Troy look.
Yeah,
season
and
2.
she's lost the Prussian hairstyle as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind
The
of
one
like,
that was like pulling her eyes back to the back red.
Yeah, I like the little bouffanty sort of thing. I can never do a bouffanty sort of thing with my hair.
yeah,
Boo.
looks good. Looks good.
Rocking the perm.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get a perm. Dare accept it? No. No.
For next week, get a
Do
perm.
it.
You get a perm, I'll shave my beard off.
Yeah.
What if I just curl my hair?
No, it's not the same. That's not the same.
Ah, boo.
Boo. Yep. Okay. So, I gave Smile a Rainbow a bum steer when we started watching this episode. I told her with great confidence this episode was directed by Winrick Colby, because I was sure he directed one of the first episode of season 2, but he directs the next episode.
Which will be a good one
Where
because
Silence
he's a
is
good
Least,
director.
I think is the next episode. I think it's
One of my favourite.
it's a great
directors.
episode, and he's a great director. And it would have been on the same VHS. You see, that's why I was getting the episodes confused. I knew it was
Would
on
have
this
been on the
VHS.
same VHS.
It would have been.
Oh my god, that makes you sound ancient.
I know what it's.
Yeah, well,
used
we
my
used
picture,
to wait
innit?
for those things.
I know we
I can't
did.
remember. I can't remember
I
what
was
day it
there.
was of the week that Mark used to get them delivered.
Yeah.
But it always used to be like the big day. Oh yeah,
Got a new video in. Yeah.
yeah. Get down to Mark and watch the next 2 parts. Oh, I used to love it.
So yes, it's the next episode where Silence is Least, and it's the first one of Winrick Kolb. Great Star Trek director, his first episode. Interestingly, this director of this next episode, he was also the life partner of Kate Mulgrew.
Oh, really?
They met in the first season because he also directed the first ever episode of Voyager.
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot what it's called.
he's done some Deep Space Nine ones because whenever he used to come up in Deep Space Nine, I was like, it's going to be a good
It's gonna be a
episode.
good one.
Yeah. But I'll have to go and check because I think he did a couple of guest stints on X-Files as well.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have
think
to
he
check
did.
that.
He did. He also directed All Good Things.
Yeah, brilliant.
But yeah, they met in the pilot episode of Voyager and fell in love and moved in together. He died in 2018. She
Oh.
was devastated. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's all next week. I've kind of said that story now, so that's taken away some. I'll talk
Yeah,
about
what
next
downer to leave us on.
Well, shush, Mark. Stop giving spoilers away. Yeah. Yes, so we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock for Where Silence is Least. Cheers.
See you later, guys. Bye.
See you later.